Hey guys, welcome to the show. Today we have Tori Skillings. She is a current Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, and her fiance, Johnmichael, is here with us. Johnmichael works in finance and banking, and he's in Dallas, and he also loves working out and skiing, and he also has a big heart for missions, which is so awesome. And then Tori works in marketing and she owns a college dance prep company with her sister called Skills Dance. And she's been dancing since the age of 3 and was also a part of the Texas Tech Pom Squad and the NBA. Tori has a passion for mentoring and helping young women in finding their confidence and being a positive influence to them. So she's engaged to Johnmichael. So, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to dive into your story. Welcome, guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so much.
having us.
Yes, of course. Oh, this will be such a fun interview just to hear how it all went down. But first, Tori, I would just love to ask you some questions about DCC and just the squad and everything. So, I know you have like a pom and dance background, and I actually was on poms too, like through high school and did competitions and everything. So I know a little bit about it, but I know it's probably not as intense as like what you've done.
You get it.
But yeah, right? So I'd love to know just like how do you deal with the pressures of like tryouts and maybe like walk us through your process of like your dance background and how that led you to become a DCC.
Yeah, so I grew up a dancer my whole life, and I grew up in Dallas and just have watched and have idolized the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and wanted to be one ever since I was little. It was a dream of mine. My family has been Cowboys fans forever, and it was just something that I always had a goal and wanted to achieve one day. And so I just knew that I had to continue training all the way up to that point. I auditioned in 2020 during COVID year, and I didn't make it, but it motivated me even more to make it the next year. I'm
That's
currently
cool.
in my 4th season as a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader.
Wow.
It is the most amazing experience, and I'm so, so grateful to be a part of something that is a part of an amazing group of women that all support each other. It is a very difficult process to make the team. Obviously, the show and everything that comes along with it shows a little bit of what we go through during the summer in order to make the team. And it really does test you, but it's totally worth it at the end of it. It is just the best thing to be a part of. And when you're out there on the field, it's just all worth it. I have made so many amazing memories with my teammates, and it really is a sisterhood that I am just forever grateful to be a part of.
Wow, that's seriously incredible. So you're going into your last season. So have they had tryouts yet for that season, or is it going to be soon?
Yeah, so not yet. We're kind
Okay.
of our current season right now. I
Hmm.
haven't officially announced it just yet, but I am about to. That I am trying out for my 5th season as a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. Yes, so
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
yeah, I wanted to make, do it the whole way through as long as I can. But auditions typically start in the beginning of May. New
Mm-hmm.
girls will send in audition videos. That's typically a minute long routine that they came up with. And then we, as vets, come in kind of towards the end of May and we submit finals rounds videos. And then finals will start mid June, kind of around that time.
Okay.
And then we go into training camp for the rest of the summer until they announce the team.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Okay, I have one more question for you just about DCC. So, I know you've been in this for 4 years now. Like, you've had some really amazing performances, especially like some really big name stars. Like, what has been your favorite performance so far?
Oh my gosh, it is so hard to answer that because there's been so many things that we've now been a part of the
Hmm.
last few years. There was Jonas Brothers. We just did Lainey Wilson. I know it was so much
So
fun. And then
fun.
we also performed with Casey Musgraves on the stage with her singing High Horse. It was so iconic. And this one actually came to support me and watched me.
Yay! Oh, that's awesome.
But I think My favorite, oh gosh, I have two. Okay, I can't pick.
Okay, say two.
Yeah, okay. Dolly Parton, because she came out in our uniform look-alike, and
Oh
we were just
my
like blown
gosh.
away the fact that Dolly Parton was wearing that. And then also
Wow.
last year we performed with Queen and Adam Lambert. Yeah, so it was just so cool. We were
Wow.
just with these legends, and I'm just sitting here like, what is going on?
Yeah. Wow. That is so cool. Like, such cool opportunities that have been brought to you, I'm sure, like within DCC and outside of it. But probably the best opportunity that's been brought to you is with John Michael. So we can totally transition into talking about your relationship. So, how did you guys even meet?
Yeah, we met because I was living in Oklahoma at the time. I was living in Tulsa because I went to ORU and then I stayed after working at
Yeah.
a company there. And my whole family's here, like my mom, my dad, my sister, and her husband. And my brother in law, he's a physician and he was going to residency school or he was going to his residency in Michigan. And so I came down to say bye to them. And it was my last Sunday, or it was their last Sunday. So I was working out that morning. And then I just got like this strong conviction of like, I need to go to church today. And I didn't, it was kind of, my parents, ever since COVID, my father's handicapped. And so they stopped going to in person church because more churches started to be remote. And it's
Yeah.
easier for my dad than getting up early in the morning and doing all those things. So they started doing more online, and so I was just planning to watch Victory Church in Tulsa with them at home, and
Yeah,
then I
my
just
friends go there. That's
I
crazy. I
love
have friends in Tulsa.
people
Yeah,
don't
they love
ask-
it. Their kids go to the school, and yeah, that's so cool.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, keep going.
So we were gonna watch church, and then I kept feeling this conviction of like I need to go to church, maybe to go see my sister on her last Sunday and whatever. And I called my parents, and my mom was like, I don't know, John Michael, church starts in 30 minutes. Like, we're not ready. We're going to be late. And I was like, I don't care. Like, I really want to go. Can we please go? And my mom asked my dad. My dad said, sure. We ended up being like 25 minutes late. Like, we were, we were very late.
Just missed worship for a little while and, came for the message, right?
So we still went, and it was all good. And it was just a normal church service. Nothing spectacular happened. But we,
Mhm.
I left that day. And then my sister came up to me at home and was like, yeah, one of the ladies from our Bible study came up to me and was like, "Oh, who's that?" And she was like, "Oh, that's my brother." And she goes, "Oh, I think for my daughter Tori, like we should set them up." My sister was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." Like, she kind of brushed it off, and then she told me about it, and I was like, "Okay, every mom thinks their daughter's cute. Like,
Right,
what's she
right.
like, and what's her heart like?" And like there's because I had come out of a pretty rough relationship, like
Mm.
7 or 8 months prior. So I was like, okay, I really don't want to jump ship here, but Olivia, if you say she's good, then let me know. And then I saw her Instagram, and I was like, okay, there's no way. Like,
You're like,
I was like,
wait a
man, I
second.
was like, this girl is gorgeous, and I know where I'm at. And so I didn't pursue it. I made sure to tell my friends about it, but I didn't pursue it. And then I was driving back to Tulsa that night, and I got a follow from her. So I guess her mom went back to
Okay.
her and was like, "You should see this guy from church." And that's where it started. And then I messaged her on Instagram the next day saying, "Hey, I live in Tulsa, but next time I'm down, I would love to take you out for coffee or lunch or whatever." And she said yes, and we're here now. We're
Yeah.
getting married.
Yeah. So
So
when
Oh
my
my
mom told me
gosh.
about him, I had just gotten out of a relationship even sooner than he did. And so I was the same way. I was like, no, I can't jump into another thing. But then during that time that I kind of had that single season, I was I was like, okay, God, if this is what is supposed to happen, like I got more into my Bible. I really tried to just focus on my relationship with the Lord. And I remember praying in my room and just being like, the next person I meet is going to be my husband. And then not too long after that, my mom's like, I met Olivia's brother. And I'm like, who? And his sister, like, very briefly, like a few times. And I was out of town the weekend that my mom met Johnmichael. Um, and so, yeah, it's just crazy how things happened and how everything started to be connected. And the one thing that we're the most grateful for is that God's hands were in our relationship from the very beginning. And so, whether it was him being convicted to go to church or me getting closer to him in my quiet time, it was those moments that led us up to being together and the thing that we're the most grateful for.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I could see that. Just like the little God winks through it all, and it just like slowly connected you guys. Like, it's so cool to just see how that all happened. And that's awesome. And it's like, you can even think back and you're like, okay, if my sister didn't say anything, and if my mom didn't say anything, and if we didn't get each other's contacts, like none of this would have happened. And so it's just
Yeah.
like that divine intervention of like you two coming together, which is so cool. I love that so much. All right. So, how long ago was that? And maybe bring us up to date to how the relationship developed into your engagement story.
Yeah, so it happened a little over a year and a half ago. It was
Okay.
around May of 2023 that it was. We remember that because it was my dad's birthday that we went to the movies,
Oh,
and that's when my mom was telling me about John Michael, and that's when I followed him. So that's kind of where we.
wow.
Um,
Yeah.
so around summertime was when we started going on dates. We started dating each other, and then in August, he's like, "I want to go to South Africa and do mission work again. And is that okay?"
Wow.
And he thought that I was going to be like upset about it. And I actually was just really excited for him, which made him be like, okay, like we can actually work through this and work something out. And so he went for like a month and a half. And it actually just made me like fall in love with him even more because I'm sitting here thinking, this is the most incredible guy. I can't let him go. He is just too amazing. And do you want to add in there?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't asking, is that okay? I told her we had gone on like 3 dates, and I told her I was starting to like her, and I can see this going further, but I have dreams of my own, and I wasn't willing to put them aside for someone else. And so I said, I'm probably, at this time, I was going to go to South Africa for a year.
Wow.
That was always the goal: start in January, go throughout November, because I already had it
Mhm.
lined up and everything else. And then I somehow met this girl in between, which wasn't the plan.
Yeah.
But I told her, I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to go to South Africa. And I know that, like, I'm starting to like you, whatever, but I'm going to go anyways. And if you're still here when I get back, that's cool. If you're not, do whatever you want. Like, I don't care that much.
Wow.
And she was like, "Oh no, that's amazing! Like, I'll wait. I'm starting to like you too." And I was like, "You'll wait? Like, we just we okay, you can go out with other people." And she was like, "No, no, I don't want to. Like, I'll wait." And I was like, "Wow, okay." I was like, "That's not what I was asking you to do," but
Wow.
Yeah. And then he got moved back to Dallas from Tulsa after he was in
yeah,
South Africa. And so then we were
Okay.
able to actually like date in the same
Yeah. Be in the
city, get
same
to know each other's
place.
families more. Yeah, it was really great. We got engaged September of 2024, and it was very, very sweet. And we're getting married in May. Coming up soon. It's crazy.
Yes, I know, just a few months. Oh my gosh. Okay, so walk us through your engagement story. Did you guys like go ring shopping beforehand? And like, did you kind of know it was coming, or was it a complete surprise? Okay, okay.
thing. I'm a big believer in not surprising with these things, because it's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm not the one wearing the ring, so I don't personally care that much what it like looks like, because to you it's what's important. So if you're confident wearing the ring and you love the ring, then that's more what I care about.
And I
Like,
appreciated that.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't put my
Right.
feelings into the ring. So we went shopping. She customized her ring, got everything that she wanted within the budget. And we got it from her family jeweler, who's actually done 3 generations of
Mhm.
rings, I think.
Mhm.
And so
That's cool.
he's fantastic.
Mhm.
And then we moved forward with that. We actually had to book a venue before the engagement because
Yeah,
Tori's
smart.
in DCC, and so she has about a 4 week window where she can do things
Right.
because she has practice and appearances and everything else, and so it's really only May that we can do things, and so
Mhm.
we were like, oh shoot, well, May is 9 or 10 months away, and most people book venues out a year and a half in advance. And so we're like, if we're really going to do it next year, we should secure something. And I promise I'll get engaged to you soon.
Right, yeah.
So,
So the funny
That's a
thing
good
is my
plan.
sister and my brother got married last year. So my brother got married April
Wow.
2024, and my sister got married of June 2024. So when we were like, okay, well, what about us? Like now we're
Right.
serious. I was like, well, probably we're gonna have to wait until 2026 because this is a lot. And then we just like went back and forth on it, and we're like, that's so far away. Like now
Yeah.
looking at it, it's not. But now it's
Mhm.
like back then it was just like that's so far away. Um, like I
it's
don't know
pretty
if I
far
could do
away
that.
too.
Yeah, it's still kind of far away. But then I went and talked to my dad after, and I'm like, Dad, is this okay? Are we okay? Are you supportive of it? And he was like, Honey, I've
Yeah.
been preparing for this. Like this man is
Oh.
for you. Like so that was kind of the behind the scenes before we decided that we were gonna do that. And so then as soon as that happened, I'm messaging and DMing every single venue I thought was pretty. And I'm like, do you have these dates available? And then they would be like, no. And I'm like, okay, next. Like, I wasn't really
Ah.
thinking too much
Mhm.
into like the details. And then I found our beautiful venue. I went and toured it. And then I had other venues that we were going to tour. But then I loved this one so much that I just felt, I don't know, it just
Yeah.
felt right. And so I booked it that night. And then I'm like,
Oh my
wait, are
gosh.
you okay?
You're like, here's where we're getting married. Hope you like it. No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome. I love that. Okay, so all of that planning came before the ring, which I mean, with your timeline and with your schedule, that's such a smart thing to do. And so that's great. And I've actually heard of more brides doing that, even ones that I've interviewed on this podcast too. And I'm like, that's great. Let's go for it.
Yeah. Plus, now it was either May of this year or May of next year, and then
Right.
someone actually booked our date next year. So it's the same. And someone on the teams. We're very
No, no way.
glad
Oh
we
my
can this
gosh.
year because next year would have been even more difficult trying to plan around.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So it's in the Dallas area, and you guys will have all your families there pretty much, anyways, right? And so, yeah, that's a good plan. And all your teammates and everything. That's
Yeah, he
cool.
has family that's in Norway. So
Oh my goodness.
some of them can come, but most of our families are here local in the Dallas
Yeah.
area.
Okay. I see where the skiing is coming into this story. The Norway, the skiing.
Yeah, my
Okay,
mom's from
nice.
Norway. My dad's from Jordan.
Wow, no way. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So
All right. So you book the venue. Now tell us your engagement story and how it all happened and when you got down on one knee.
Yeah, so take
this one was much more stressful than I anticipated. I
No.
wasn't planning for it to be so stressful, but it's hard when you're trying to plan it and then everyone's got an opinion on how it should be planned. And then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, is what I'm doing not right? Like, should I change everything that I've planned? Is Tori going to hate it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, knowing Tori, I think I could have proposed in a parking lot and she would have been okay with it. But
Yeah.
I wanted it to be special for her because she's very special to me. So regardless of
Mm.
whatever it could have been, like I wanted it to be great. And so
Yeah.
there's this beautiful park. I don't even remember what it's called, but
Um,
some park in Highland Park here in
mhm.
Dallas, and it's beautiful. It's in a great neighborhood. It's next to like a country club and a very like high end houses neighborhood, whatever. And so I had my mom and my sister, who are very good at like making things pretty and designing and interiors and whatever, they got together and they went before us and set up like a white blanket, a picnic basket with like a bottle of champagne and flowers everywhere, and printed out all of these photos of Tori and us over the past couple years. And then I got a custom Bible for her because
Oh my gosh.
Tori had been using one, the same one, forever. And especially now that she was so much more serious in her faith than before, I wanted her to have something that she could hold on to for like the rest of her life. And so I got her a very high quality custom Bible with her name engraved on it, and then wrote a letter to her on the front. And then I highlighted Proverbs something. Proverbs something. It says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing." And I
Love
wrote,
that.
"Will you marry me?" next to it. And so it's highlighted and written next to it. And it was in a little gift box for her. Whenever she sat down, she could open it and it was already flipped to that page. And
Oh my
so for me, I was like, I love that she's going to have this forever. And
gosh.
whenever our
Yeah.
kids ask about it, or our grandkids, it's like, this is the memorabilia that will literally last a lifetime. And
Yeah.
so to me, I thought that was more important than really anything of the setup. And
Right.
then a photographer reached out to me, and this was a huge blessing. Her name's Cassie,
Mhm.
and she reached out and said, "Hey, I would love to do y'all's engagement shoot." The
Yeah.
photos came out incredible on the engagement. She was just pretending to be on the phone
Yeah.
the entire time. Because it's in a park, and we pulled up, and Tori knew about it. Like I
Yeah.
told her I was taking her to dinner. She knew I probably wasn't taking her to dinner, and we opened up the
Mhm.
door, and she was like, "Oh, I see some random girl's name. I don't even know what name she said. She thought she saw another photographer, and I was like, who is that?" And I was like, we already walked past the photographer, so it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then, like at this point, she knew I was proposing. And then afterwards, she saw the real photographer, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't even realize." I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, we walked."
No way. You had backup just in case.
Yeah,
Yeah, the engagement was coming. I just didn't know when because I kept getting
Mm.
told one that the ring was getting pushed off, and then I think a clue was that my mom is really bad at hiding things from me, but
yeah,
it wasn't. I
That's
still
good.
didn't really catch on to it. But I was like getting ready. We had gone to my friend's brunch, her birthday brunch earlier that day. So I didn't expect to get engaged that night.
Mhm.
And so I was getting ready, and my mom is, and my parents are like, we gotta go, we gotta go. They're just like running out the door, and I'm like thinking they need to go take care of my grandma or something like that. And I'm just like, okay, that was weird. They just like busted out the door. Usually they're like taking their time, kind of getting out. And then he picks me up, and he is like dead silent. I'm like editing this video that I have to do. And I'm like, do you think this looks good? Like, he usually has his opinions. And I'm like, do you think this looks
Right.
good? And he's like, not really answering me. And I'm like, okay. And I just like continue doing what I
I
need
was
to
just
do.
anxious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure you're
then pull
like
up, and
heart
I'm like,
rate.
I get my head out of my phone, and I'm like, oh.
Okay, I get it now.
Well,
Yeah.
no, she saw it and she was like, "What?"
It was so sweet. Like when I opened
Oh.
that Bible, I just like
Oh
said,
man.
like, and then I saw our families, and it was really, really like a special night. And then we went to dinner and just enjoyed
Yeah,
hanging out.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Seriously, I was like holding back tears
Oh,
listening to your story. It's like so amazing to just like start off your marriage and your engagement in that way by presenting the Bible and just like making it so meaningful, and like that's going to be a family heirloom for you
mhm.
guys, and it's just so cool to like start it off that way, just in the planning and everything that worked out with it, and to have family there too, and to like witness it and like be there to just like celebrate with you guys is so great. Can we see your ring? Oh my gosh,
It
it's
has it.
gorgeous. I love the diamonds around
Yeah, I
too.
love it. Yeah, it's so
So
perfect. It was
pretty.
exactly what I wanted. I have a hidden halo, so it's not the halo that goes around. It's like underneath, so it
Yeah.
actually like makes the diamond shine even more. So it's like super sparkly. So it's exactly
Ooh,
what I wanted.
so gorgeous. Good job. Good job. All right. So that was back in September. So you have your venue and everything. You guys are getting married in May. Like, kind of where are you in the wedding planning process at this point?
all the big things are done. That was
Nice.
like my big goal, was to just get all the big things. The music and the DJ was like the biggest thing for me. I just
That's fun.
love good music. We both love dancing. It was just something that was really important to me. Right now, we're just doing all the like minor detail things that neither of us truly care about that much, but our my mom does, and we know that it like all adds up at the very end. But we're doing like what are we did like the bar menu last night. We did I had to order all
That's
the
cool.
invitations, obviously, but I'm not doing anything crazy. I made it where it's a very basic invitation. I thought that our money should go to other things that meant more to us, because we know that for
Mhm.
invitations, it's just like they're going to look at it, they're going to either come or not come and then move on. So those
Right.
things just weren't as important to us. And then just like finalizing everything with our amazing wedding coordinator, who is actually the owner of the venue as well.
Nice.
And so yeah, just getting all those little details. And then obviously on top of that, doing the honeymoon things like
Yeah.
booking the flights and figuring out where we're going to go eat. And everything's been like pretty good so far. Not going to lie. We've just been trying to, like, he's so easygoing that
Mhm.
I'm like this or this. He's like that. And I'm like, okay, next. Like, we just try
That's
to not
awesome.
think through things too much. And we just want to keep moving forward with all the decisions.
That's great. And to like be decisive on that and to like know that, okay, invitations don't really mean as much to us. Like, let's spend that part of our budget on other things, the entertainment and things that mean a little bit more to us. I think that's a good way to go about it, where you're like, not just going all out on every single thing, because that's how you blow your budget and just
Mhm.
gets out of control really fast. And so I think you guys are being like really smart about it and just making those decisions and being on like a really good timeline with it. Sounds like you guys are in a really good spot.
We hope so.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. I'm sure some days you're like, and other days you're like, okay, I tackled that. So,
I think for me, that was one of the things I had to come to grips with was, do I really care about what my invitations look like? Do I really care what
mm-hmm,
like this certain arrangement looks like? And it's easy
mm-hmm,
to get lost in the materialistic part of the wedding, but we keep reminding ourselves it's not about the wedding, it's about the marriage. Like, we keep telling
uh-huh.
each other that it's about this, that's the fun stuff on the side, but this is what we need to constantly work on.
Mhm.
So that's been like the reminder we keep telling ourselves is it's about the marriage, not the wedding.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that leads me into a question that I love to ask everyone who comes on this podcast is, what advice do you have for other couples who are planning their weddings right now?
Oh God. Uh, I mean, I haven't done much of the planning myself. I don't know if I'm the best person.
I mean, I maybe just snowballing off of what I just said, where like
Right.
sweat the like
Mm-hmm.
small stuff. Try to just focus on the things that you really do care about, instead of these like minor things that people tell you you should care about.
Right.
Also, for my wedding dress, I didn't come into it thinking it had to be this. I never had like a Pinterest board and like this idea of the perfect dress, or I was how I was supposed to feel when I put it on. I came in and I'm like, I'm kind of just like figuring it out, and we'll see what happens and what looks good on me. And it just worked out. And I found my dress in the second place I went to on like the third dress. And it was like the reason why I knew it was the dress for me was I just missed how I looked in it. Like, it wasn't like I started crying, and like I just didn't want to think too much into everything. Like, even for the venue, it was just like, I mean, like,
Right.
yeah, it does matter. But at the same time, like, it's a beautiful venue regardless. Like, there's so many beautiful venues, but what else do they have to offer for us? Like, the owner of the venue, am I allowed to say her name? Like,
Yeah, you're welcome
Jill
to.
Boyle. Like,
Yeah.
she's actually an ORU alum too, and it was
Yeah,
like
Nice. Oh my gosh, so many connections here.
she's
she's
amazing.
amazing.
That's
She
so cool.
loves the Lord. Like, the venue just felt like the presence of God was like with us, like when we were walking throughout
Wow.
it. And it's just like things like that where it was like, okay, next, like that's
Mm-hmm.
it. Like, I don't want to think about this too much. So biggest
Mm-hmm.
advice is just make decisions and just like keep moving forward. Like, don't sweat the small stuff.
I would say my biggest thing about maybe not the planning of the wedding, but like the actual wedding itself is that we've seen a lot of people, and we are trying not to do this. It's hard not to, but it's like with the little details and trying to have like the perfect day, it's like it's so easy to get wrapped up into you want it to be as good as possible for all the stars to align and every single perfect thing to happen. And it's just like at the end of the day, it's not going to. It's impossible for the day to be
Yeah.
absolutely perfect unless you want to be a straight bridezilla and have
Right.
enemies in your family. And it's like,
Yeah.
is it worth the trials and the triumph? Is it worth the cut ties? Is it worth like making your family upset with you for the next several years just to have the perfect day? And it's just like it's probably not going to happen. And so
Mhm.
learning to loosen up a little bit on the things where you're like, I want this so badly, but if it doesn't happen, then we'll probably laugh about it. Like I always tell her, if the cake
Yeah.
topples over, if the music scratches out, if like our food falls on the floor, like I want to laugh about it and not be like, oh my god, why did this happen? And
Yeah.
if it just it's going to happen. And so I'd rather prepare for it now and let our hearts be in a posture of we're here for each other, and regardless of the amount of money being spent or the people coming or the food or anything else, it's like let's just be joy filled and be excited to marry one another.
Yeah. I think that's great words of advice. Like, not holding on to anything too tightly where you're like so stressed that, like, if this doesn't go perfect, it's gonna be ruining my day and ruining
Yeah.
our day, and people won't like it, and all these opinions. It's like just holding it more loosely and being like, we're gonna roll with whatever happens, and it's going to be a memory and it's going to be our day, and we're going to go into it not expecting perfection, not expecting 100%, but just seeing how things flow. I think that's such a good perspective to have going through all of it, because you're right, it is so easy to get so caught up in all of those details and making sure things go off without a hitch, but and you want them to, but you're right. The reality is it's not going to be 100%. Something always happens, and that's okay.
Yep.
So, yeah. Do you happen to have any, and you don't have to say it if you don't want to, if it's a surprise, but any like special performances happening during your reception or anything special going on? Because I've seen some other things online that happen at DCC wedding receptions. So I wasn't sure if you had anything like that planned.
Yeah, of course. We have to do the Thunderstruck routine.
Love it.
We have to, we have to, we have to.
I love
Every
it. It's
wedding
so
we do
fun.
it. So we always have so much fun doing it at each other's weddings. And everybody brings palms and we're always like, oh, when are we doing it? So it's really fun. So we always get to perform for the groom. So he'll get to have a front row performance of everything. And then my college friends are going to be there as well. So I'll be doing my college fight song dance that
Nice.
goes along with it. So it's going to be kind of a short little dance recital.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and then my sister and I have considered, we keep going back and forth if we're going to do a dance together, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like, do I want to stress about something that would be new or just something that's in my body on, autopilot at this point? Uh,
Right.
so yeah, we're doing some performances
Oh
and
my
it's
gosh,
going to be
so
really
fun.
fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and dance is such a huge part of your life and what you do anyways, and so it only makes sense to do some performances. So, all right. Well, we can wrap up. Do you guys have any other upcoming projects or things that you're working on that you want to give a shout out about on the podcast?
I think the main thing is just my sister and I are just doing our dance classes constantly,
Yeah.
and that we teach around in the Dallas area, but we also teach outside of the DFW Metroplex. So we just like to post about those, and that's the main projects that we work on.
Nice.
Main thing I would say it's kind of a project. We're going to be finally living together coming up when after we
Yay.
get married. So we're just really excited to start our lives together and
Oh,
are just looking forward to like what the future brings. And then also just 5th year as a DCC.
Oh my
So
gosh, yeah, yeah. Do you guys have any dates on when America's Sweethearts is coming out? Because I know there was a season, you guys filmed a season 2, right?
that is correct. Yeah, that is out, but it's not being premiered, I think, until later on. They haven't told us exactly.
Okay,
So they'll announce
gotcha.
it for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll be watching. Yeah, definitely. That's so exciting. Yeah, and definitely go if you're in the Dallas area or even I guess need help with dance lessons virtually. Is that something that you do too? Is
Yeah, we can
help
do
with
it.
that? That's awesome. Yeah. Definitely give Tori's dance studio a follow. And yeah, I'm so excited to just like keep following along with you guys, see your wedding photos, and yeah, stay in touch. I am so happy for you. Congratulations. And thank you so much for sharing your story today.
Thank you so
Of
much,
course.
Alyssa. This was awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Bye.
There you have it, another episode of the Wedding Reporter podcast. To see those gorgeous wedding and engagement photos, head over to NashvilleBrideGuide.com for more behind the scenes content. And if you like this episode, I would so appreciate it if you would rate and subscribe the show. See you next time for another great episode.